Where is she answering? And who am I? That's not a secret I'll never tell. You know you love me. XOXO. Gossip.
Hey guys, welcome back to Chats with Brynn and Miranda. I'm Miranda.
And I'm Brynn.
And today we're going to talk about the New York Times versus the U.S. and the First Amendment.
And we're going to also touch on the Pentagon Papers and Daniel Ellsberg.
Did you know the government can't restrict the media?
Wow, that's amazing. Isn't that in the First Amendment?
Yes, it is. The First Amendment is, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right to the people peacefully to assemble, and to the petition of the government for a redress of grievances.
Oh, what exactly is the media anyways?
Oh, media is the means of communication, as radio and television, newspapers, magazines, and the internet, that reach or influence people widely. But there are times where the government can restrict what you say. That's called prior restraint. Prior restraint is any time the government acts as a gatekeeper to free expression.
That reminds me of the time that Daniel Ellsberg leaked the Pentagon Papers to the Washington Post and New York Times in 1971.
I saw a TikTok about that guy. He died at 92 in 2023 from pancreatic cancer. What are the Pentagon Papers anyway? What was in them?
The Pentagon Papers were 7,000 papers officially titled Report of the Office of the Secretary of Defense Vietnam Task Force. They were written by the Secretary of Defense in 1967. They were detailed papers on the military and political involvement in Vietnam till the end of World War II and the Cold War. The Supreme Court upheld newspapers' rights to publish due to freedom of press.
I've heard about that before. The case was taken to court with the New York Company versus U.S. in 1971. The Nixon administration attempted to prevent the New York Times from publishing materials belonging to the Classified Defense Department study regarding the history of the United States' activities in Vietnam. The president argued that prior restraint was necessary to protect the national security. The court's unanimous decision stated that the government had failed to overcome the heavy presumption against prior restraint in that particular case. Justices Black and Douglas argued that the vague word security should not be used to abrogate the fundamental law embodied in the First Amendment. Justice Brynn reasoned that since publication would not cause inevitable, direct, and immediate event, imperiling the safety of the American forces, prior restraint was unjustified.
I agree. I think that they made the right decision and the New York Times shouldn't have posted those papers because it put the American forces in danger, and Daniel Ellsberg worked for the government, so it was pretty not cool of him.
Yeah, I agree, but this case can be a little opinion-based. How about we get up and go ask someone else their
You know what? I have the perfect person. Let's go ask. We're here with the one and only Miss Richter. What is your opinion on the New York Times versus the U.S. 1971 case? Do you think they made the right decision, and do you think it was unjust leaking the Pentagon Papers?
Well, so first of all, two different questions there, right? The gentleman that leaked the Pentagon Papers did so, he wasn't supposed to do that, right? He worked for the government, top secret stuff. He leaked them, and in his mind, he thought he was doing what was right for the public. That may or may not be true, but regardless, he broke the law.
Yeah.
The New York Times and the Post had the papers and wanted to publish them. The government stepped in and said, okay, you can't publish those because it's national security, which is why it ended up at the court. I feel the court's decision was the correct one. I feel that there's a fine line between what the government should be able to censor and tell, printed newspapers what they can and cannot publish. And somebody has to define that line, right?
Yeah.
So the court said, yes, national security would be a reason not to publish something, but that the Pentagon Papers did not reach that kind of obstacle or threshold, right?
Yeah.
And so I believe that was the correct ruling.
Yeah.
Because we need to have a check on the government, but we also need to have security for our nation.
Well, thank you so much for your answer. That helped a lot.
Thanks for watching! He died at 19. He died at. Oh, sorry.
Hey, guys.
Oh, are you in New York? Okay, wait.
Scene Robinson officially titled
Papers. Should we restart from the beginning? Yeah. Media can't. Oh. This is about to be so good.